Hi friends, now let's have a look at currency convertibility. Currency convertibility is the ease with which the currency of a country can be freely converted into another foreign currency or gold at market determined exchange rate based on demand and supply for that currency. So that means, for example, country A, if there is currency convertibility, can convert its currency into any other currency prevailing in the world without any prior permission from the central bank of that particular country. For example, convertibility of Indian rupee is the ease with which rupee can be converted into any foreign exchange like US dollar, pound sterling, euro, etc., and vice versa. The government can put restrictions on foreign exchange convertibility, which can lead to low currency convertibility. So, easy convertibility of a currency is necessary for achieving rapid economic growth and ensuring improvement in the living standard of the people. This, in turn, helps in economic development as a whole. Convertibility of currency is divided into two. One is capital account convertibility, the other one is current account convertibility. So, the convertibility of rupee or any currency uh, any home currency into any other currency can be generally called as convertibility. And if the transaction is in the nature of a current account, we call it as current account convertibility. And if the transaction if it is in the basis of capital account, we call it as capital account convertibility. So in detail, we will see what is current account convertibility. So current account convertibility, as I said earlier, refers to the freedom in payment and transfers in the current account international transactions. Article 8, Section 2, Section 3, and Section 4 of the International Monetary Fund (IMF) put an obligation on the member countries for restoring the current account convertibility of their currencies. It puts obligation for removing the restrictions on current payments, avoiding any kind of discriminatory currency practices such as multiple exchange rates, etc. However, capital account restrictions are allowed. Now, IMF have put forward this concept to ensure smooth flow of fund and trade from one country to another. Now let us see what is current account convertibility of Indian rupee. After the collapse of Bretton Woods system in 1971, many countries switched over to the system of free currency convertibility on current account. By 1991, around 80 countries had introduced current convertibility on current account. In India, after the economic crisis and economic reforms in 1991, the rupee was made partially convertible under the liberalized exchange rate management system, which we call as LERMS. Under the scheme, 60% of all receipts on current account was to be freely converted into rupees at the rate which is prevailing in market, whereas 40% was on the basis of official exchange rate fixed by the RBI. And India acquired the Article 8 status of IMF in 1994. The 40% of fixed exchange rate convertibility was meant for fulfilling the government's exclusive requirements for the import of essential commodities. In March 1993, the foreign exchange bought was abolished. The foreign exchange budget was abolished, and the exchange rate was unified, and transactions on the trade account were made free from the exchange control. The exchange rate of rupee was now left to be determined by the market forces of demand and supply. So now in India we are having full convertibility when it comes to current account convertibility. In August 1994, rupee was made fully convertible on the current account. In January 1997, the RBI announced some major relaxation in currency exchange control. The RBI removed the monetary ceiling prescribed for remittance of foreign exchange for various purposes. Indian rupee is now fully convertible, as I said earlier, in any foreign currency for the current account transaction. However, some restrictions from the Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999 is still applicable. These restrictions include non-convertibility for activities such as betting, gambling, and on some product prohibited items. Different limits have been imposed on convertibility in the current account for traveling to other countries, sending gifts, educational purposes, employment and medical treatment, etc. So, in a way, we could conclude that India is having almost a fully convertible currency regime when it comes to current account convertibility. Next is capital account convertibility. Capital account convertibility refers to the ease and freedom in converting a country's currency into another foreign currency, such as US dollar, pound sterling, euro, like that, and and vice versa from that particular currency to Indian currency. It is the freedom to convert the local financial assets into foreign financial assets at the market determined exchange rate. Right. So, when it comes to capital account convertibility, we are here speaking about financial assets apart from the transactions. So, we call that is why we call it as capital account convertibility, and this is for a longer period of time also. Full capital account convertibility would ultimately lead to unrestricted movement of capital, and and this can't be accepted by every country. And there is no rule based on IMF, or there is no forcing from the IMF to follow this rule. Full capital convertibility of Indian rupee was not introduced because the prevailing conditions were not in its favor, as India was facing a large current account deficit. The government wanted to ensure the availability of foreign exchange at lower prices for the input of essential goods and commodities. If full capital account convertibility was allowed, what would happen? The movement of the people of India would have freedom to purchase financial assets abroad, and there will be a very big movement of foreign exchange from. We can see a reduction in foreign exchange reserve in India. To stop that, to check that, Indian government did not allow full convertibility of capital account. India adopted a cautious approach in the full capital account convertibility of rupee in the view of the Mexican crisis. Especially, there was other crises also, but the Mexican crisis was one of the worst among them. The subsequent East Asian crisis justified the approach of partial capital account convertibility. Earlier, also partial account capital account convertibility was allowed under certain conditions. So India kept on that track. So what is the merit of full currency convertibility? As we know, full currency convertibility allows or gives the freedom for the people of that particular country to convert their currency into foreign currency and foreign currency into their currency. Let us see what are the merits of that. The full currency convertibility will give the true value of rupee against the foreign currencies. Um, Either market determined exchange rate would also promote import substitution, as import would become more expensive. Higher market determined exchange rate would provide more incentives to the Indian worker living abroad and NRE to send remittance of foreign exchange. So, full convertibility, full currency convertibility provide a self-balancing mechanism. So, whenever there is a deficit, more foreign exchange comes in, and whenever there is a surplus, automatically the surplus amount will be going out. It would lead to greater integration of domestic economy with the global economy. This will help to reduce the gap between domestic economy and the global economy. So these are the main merits of currency convertibility. As we know, if there is merit, we would have some demerits also. So we will see what are the demerits of currency convertibility. Full currency convertibility can lead to an appreciation of rupee, which can cause a reduction in Indian export overseas, right? Because when they export, our exports become very expensive, and there is a chance that our demand goes down. Appreciation of rupee would also increase import, which can have negative impact on balance of payment deficit. And it is not only affected on balance of payment deficit; it will also affect our native traders also. Next point of demerit is that full currency convertibility may also lead to depreciation of rupee, which would ultimately increases the price of import. Import like oil cannot be substituted for domestic production, which could be ultimately intensify the inflationary pressures. Right? So there are some products for which we do not have any substitution, import substitution. One of that such kind of product is oil. The other one is other one we can call computer chips. So such type of products which we could say that we are having 100 percentage or nearly 100 percentage import of such products price of such product is going to be very high if you are having full convertibility of rupee. Okay, full convertibility currency convertibility would lead to the exchange rate of rupee being based on the market forces of demand and supply. This can strengthen the speculative tendencies in the market, which would lead to instability in financial system. And this is also a very important thing, speculative activities. So whenever there are speculative activities, we could say that there is a problem in our economy. So these are the major demerits of full convertibility of rupee. Thank you.